We came to Iceland, chasing a light that never promises to appear.
The first lesson arrived immediately. Iceland decides the rhythm, never the traveler.
In this cold, even setting up a camera becomes an act of patience. Clouds covered the sky, erasing every hope we had carried into the night. Night 1 ended with darkness, silence, and no northern lights at all.
Yet disappointment felt strangely beautiful beneath Iceland's vast and uncompromising sky. By sunrise, the search had already become a journey through fire and ice. Reykjavik appeared small, colorful, and sheltered between mountains and the North Atlantic. Its streets felt intimate, while Hallgrimskirkja rose above them like frozen basalt. The church translates Iceland's waterfalls and lava columns into a monument of stone.
Color here does more than decorate winter. It pushes back against the darkness.
At Harpa, glass catches the northern light and returns it in 1,000 fragments. The harbor still speaks the language that built Iceland: weather, work, and fish. Every repaired knot carries the memory of families who lived by the sea.
Skyr tastes clean and creamy, a simple Icelandic breakfast made for cold mornings. Warm bread and strong coffee turn a storm outside into an invitation to linger.
Geothermal pools are Reykjavik's living rooms, where warmth turns strangers into neighbors.
Here, conversation flows as naturally as the hot water beneath the city. Even after dark, Reykjavik glows with heat, drawn quietly from the volcanic ground. Long winters taught Icelanders to light the darkness with stories. The sagas preserved voyages, feuds, courage, and memory across nearly 1,000 years.
Listening beside the fire, I understood why storytelling remains a form of shelter.
Turf houses once held precious warmth against wind that could reshape an entire day. Resourcefulness transformed scarce wood, wool, and stone into everything a household needed. Beyond the capital, every road seemed to lead deeper into the Earth's unfinished story. At Thingvellir, history stands inside a landscape slowly pulling itself apart.
I walked between cliffs shaped by the drifting North American and Eurasian plates.
The planet's movement felt suddenly intimate beneath my fingertips.
Water filtered through lava becomes so clear that depth almost disappears.
Here, the Alþingi gathered from 930 to make law, settle disputes, and share news.
Community took shape here through debate, responsibility, and the difficult work of agreement. Simeon Lawrock.
As daylight faded, the valley seemed to hold both continents and centuries in silence. On the golden circle, the ground breathes, boils, and refuses to stay quiet. Strákur gathers pressure beneath a blue dome that lasts only a heartbeat. Then the earth releases its breath in one sudden tower of water and steam.
No photograph prepared me for the sound, the heat, or the perfect timing.
Gullfoss drops into the canyon with enough force to vibrate through the body.
Beside that roaring water, I felt beautifully and completely small.
Across the frozen countryside, geothermal greenhouses create summer behind walls of glass. Heat from below allows tomatoes to ripen while winter presses against the windows.
Comme du sel.
Wow, thank you so much.
It's beautiful.
Local ingenuity turns volcanic energy into fresh food, jobs, and year-round possibility.
The tomato soup tasted bright and fresh, an unexpected flavor in the snow. At Laugervatn, the landscape itself becomes an oven for a cherished family recipe. Rye dough cooks slowly underground, warmed for hours by volcanic heat. The finished rugbrød is dense, gently sweet, and inseparable from this geothermal shore. Butter melts into the bread, while smoked trout brings the flavor back to water.
One bite held geology, family tradition, smoke, sweetness, and the lake outside.
Icelandic wool begins with sheep, shaped by centuries of isolation and severe weather. Before knitting begins, every fleece is sorted by color, softness, and purpose. Carding transforms raw fleece into clouds of fiber, ready to become lopi. The yarn keeps an airy structure that traps warmth without feeling heavy. Small workshops and cooperatives keep this practical craft connected to living communities.
My first stitch failed, but laughter needed no translation.
For the maker, every sweater carries time, skill, and a traceable human touch. No handmade lopapesa is perfectly identical, and that difference gives it life.
Outside, the wool felt less like fashion and more like Icelandic protection.
Near Hekla, daily life continues beneath one of Iceland's most famous volcanoes. Farm days begin with animals, weather, and work that cannot be postponed. The Icelandic horse is small, powerful, curious, and perfectly adapted to this land.
This gentle horse met me with caution, then answered patience with trust.
Preparation here is quiet, careful, and centered on the animal's comfort.
Riding beneath Hekla made the landscape feel ancient, open, and intensely alive.
During the tult, the horse moved quickly while my body stayed remarkably still.
For a few seconds, I felt as though we were gliding over the earth.
On a family farm, knowledge passes through shared work rather than formal ceremony. After the cold, a shared pot of lamb soup brings everyone back together. Kjötsúpa is humble, nourishing, and perfectly designed for a wind-battered evening.
The soup tasted like shelter, generosity, and a home opened to a stranger.
The South Coast changed character after every bend, from farmland to glacier and ocean. Seljalandsfoss fell like a silver curtain from clouds gathered above the cliffs.
Cold spray covered my face before I even reached the foot of the waterfall. I was soaked, freezing, and more awake than I had felt in months.
Skogafoss announced itself from far away, a white wall roaring across the valley. Standing beneath it, I disappeared into the scale of the landscape. Sunlight entered the spray and built a rainbow that vanished whenever the wind shifted. Along the coast, Old turf roofs still echo a practical architecture of warmth. Coastal villages grew around boats, tides, and the demanding calendar of the sea. Net mending remains a quiet craft, where one weak knot can matter offshore. Drying fish preserved the catch through winter and concentrated the pure taste of the sea. Eek rests beneath a small church, facing an ocean that never seems to sleep. Reynisfjara looked like another planet, carved from basalt, ash, wind, and water. Cooling lava fractured into columns so precise they appear designed rather than formed.
Its beauty demanded attention, distance, and absolute respect for the ocean.
A sneaker wave can cross calm-looking sand without warning and with devastating force.
Respecting the warning did not reduce the experience. It allowed us to return safely.
Offshore, Reynisdrangar stood like dark sentinels guarding the edge of Iceland.
After the storm, Vik welcomed us with warmth and recipes shaped by preservation.
Plukkfiskur turns humble fish and potatoes into something creamy, comforting, and deeply familiar.
The first spoonful felt like a warm memory of the cold ocean outside.
Harðfiskur is lean, salty, and traditionally softened with a generous layer of butter. Skyer ended the meal with freshness, gentle tang, and the richness of Icelandic dairy.
Then came hakarl, fermented shark preserved by a method born from necessity.
Its powerful aroma became a memory I knew would survive the entire journey. That's so strong. It is, isn't it?
That night, clouds returned, and our second search ended beneath another empty sky. Farther east, Vatnajökull opened a world where glaciers rest above hidden volcanoes.
On moving ice, safety begins with trained guidance, proper equipment, and constant observation.
Every strap mattered before I took my first step onto the glacier. The glacier felt solid, yet every blue surface was quietly moving beneath us. Each step revealed trapped air, ancient snow, and dark ash from past eruptions. Inside the ice, daylight turned blue, and every sound became smaller.
The color seemed impossible, as though the glacier were holding its own sky.
Beneath the beauty, meltwater whispered that this frozen world is rapidly changing.
The guide showed where ice once stood, far beyond the present edge.
Climate change here has a visible distance, a sound, and a growing shoreline. At Jökulsárlón, pieces of the glacier begin their final journey toward the Atlantic.
Watching the ice drift away felt beautiful, peaceful, and unexpectedly sad.
Across the channel, waves returned pieces of ice to the black shore.
For a few hours, each melting fragment became a sculpture no museum could keep.
In Höfen, glacier country meets a harbor whose identity is inseparable from seafood. Langoustine, cooked simply in butter, preserved the sweet, delicate character of the cold sea. Its sweetness tasted brighter because the boat, harbor, and mountains were still visible. On night 3, a pale arc appeared, barely brighter than an ordinary cloud. A clear opening formed near Vestrahorn, so we chose to keep driving. Then, behind Vestrahorn, the darkness gathered a thin and unmistakable green edge.
I lowered the camera because I needed to see this moment with my own eyes.
The aurora unfolded silently, a river of light moving across the stars. We had not captured the aurora. Iceland had simply allowed us to witness it.
The light lasted minutes, but everything that led us there will remain for life.